Far From Home, the studio behind Forever Skies, has just announced their 1.0 experimental launch. It is coming out today on Steam's beta branch. Hopefully, the 1.0 version will still be coming out on the 14th of April. Currently, there's no news on a change of date yet, so I'm assuming if everything goes well during this beta branch session, it will still launch on April the 14th into 1.0. Now, 1.0 has a whole host of stuff that's included with it. Now, before we carry on, look at the graph. We've made a decent amount. We brought it down by 1%. 91.3% of you that watch the channel are not subscribed, with 8.7 being subscribed. So, if you like what we do here and you think the channel is useful and gives you some information on new titles that are coming, make sure you subscribe to the channel, drop a like on the video. I greatly appreciate it. Now, the full launch is just a few weeks away, but this experimental branch will give the team time to check and make sure everything is working. As you can see, this is just the experimental changelog, so there's still loads of stuff that could completely change before that April 14th launch. But as you can see, there is an absolutely monumental amount of fixes, changes, quality of life improvements, new and improved items, as well as new POIs and biomes. The team have said that this is their largest update that they've ever done. And, well, you can see why. There's a hell of a lot of stuff that is going into this one. Some of those main features being the new biomes, the new giant creatures that we'll be able to see and potentially interact with. If you haven't already seen what is coming, let's check out the full changelog and see what the team have to say that they've worked into the experimental branch. Now, it is worth noting that a lot of this may change before it reaches the main build on the 14th of April. The team have said this will possibly change. It is experimental until the main build is released. They're actively working on this build still, so some assets, features, texts, audio files may be missing or in their placeholder form. Now, if you don't know how to join Steam's beta branch, well, it's relatively easy. Now, if you don't know how to access Steam's beta branch, it's relatively simple. Go over to the game, right-click, go down to Properties, and then for the beta access, use the password Blimp Workshop, all one word, capital B, capital W. Check the code, and then that is the beta test for that 1.0 launch. Now, it's important to note that if you've played the beta after the co-op update, which is early access version 1.7.0, you do not need to start a new beta save, but it will help you to experience all of the new details. But if you haven't played since that co-op update, then you will need to start the game all over again. There is no choice to that, unfortunately. But who cares, right? You get to experience a lot of this cool stuff all over again. Now, I am going to do full gameplay video with guides and all of that good stuff when it goes into full 1.0 launch, but I'm not going to do that during the beta version. We will probably jump in, have a little bit of a play, and have some content going out. We'll probably do something on Sunday or Monday of next week, checking out this beta branch, but I'm not going to do a fully fledged story playthrough, just in case we get pretty much 3/4 of the way through, and there's still some things missing. But some of the main features of this launch, we've gone over a lot of them already. But 1.0 has now been divided into biomes. Before, the world was completely randomized, and it caused a few issues with progression through the game and obtaining upgrades, which is true. It was a little bit of a pain in the ass trying to get through and just grab all of the good stuff that you needed to progress through the storyline. It sort of just became a hit and miss, and if you're lucky, you got the right stuff at the beginning or sort of midway through. If not, you were hunting and grinding for a hell of a long time, and it could be a slight progression blocker. So having a more organized system to that progression is definitely going to make the experience much more enjoyable. Now, the team have said that by designing a few different biomes with specific locations, resources, and visuals, they've created a more structured world while still allowing for some procedural variety. And alongside these new biomes, we've also got brand new points of interest. There are tons of them to discover, such as the cranes, the caves, new areas all over the map, which is brilliant. Loads and loads of cool stuff. Now, we've seen some of these before, things like the cranes and the caves where the giant creatures jump out of. The many places to discover range from new locations like the workshop, smaller points of interest like the Luciferian plants, Luciferian? One of those words. Anywho, a small location in the overgrown ruins where you can land and gather a useful new resource. which is awesome. Now, I absolutely love the whole crane system that they've implemented, which you've seen little bits of it before, but as you can see, you'll be able to lift stuff up, move crates around, and then that'll give you access to new points of interest inside the overall larger POI, which is quite cool and will provide some pretty awesome gameplay. Hopefully we can move these things at our whim and not be sort of locked into moving it sort of left and right, and that's about it. We'll have to wait and see how that goes, because you could create some pretty cool little structures just messing around with the cranes. Now, as well as all of that, they've also got the final chapter, which is the ending to the storyline. And we've seen this before already. The team have said that we will have a choice to make. Now, we don't know what that choice is, whether it's going to be whether we save the planet or not, but underneath this little GIF that you're looking at now, after acquiring the 1.0 cure and at the end of the current chapter, it's finally time to take the cure back to the colony on board the Ark. That's simple, right? Which, obviously, it's not going to be simple. Things are never simple in survival games. You always get sidetracked, there's always something extra to build, and there's always a pretty house to make. So, yeah, we'll see, right? But as well as that, there's tons and tons of stuff that come with the changelog. So I'm very, very excited for this 1.0 launch. It looks awesome. There's loads and loads of cool stuff in there. I've played the game since it first released, and I got early access to it. So massive shout out to Mr. Greg there for giving me that back in the day. And it's amazing how far it's come. I'm very excited to check out 1.0. Now, for the main changelog, we'll go over just a few of the little bits that are in there, such as the new content. So the world has now been split into 3 different biomes with unique visuals: the Silent City, the Overgrown Ruins, and New Nature. The different biomes are surrounded by different types of gates, such as the Wall and the Charged Barricade. So, pretty cool. We've got massive walls everywhere. We've gone full Trump. We're going to build a wall. And, well, that's quite cool. It's not so much just floating around and everything will change as you sort of go through one zone to another, where it doesn't really feel natural. Whereas if you've got that barricade, it does make it feel a little bit more natural. So the new locations are the Cosmodrome Workshop, AI Tree Surface Lift, and AI Tree Robots. The new small locations are loot containers, Luciferin, that word again, POIs, and 3 unique Colossal Lifeform POIs, as well as 20 new unique world murals. Very cool. I like that. That's awesome. And I want to see the new Colossal Lifeforms and how much damage they can do. I have a feeling I'm going to try and get myself killed by one of them just for shits and giggles. Might go wrong, but we'll have to wait and see. So as well as that, the new story progression has been added with the story finale, new research, and the new discoveries tab, as well as some new tools and devices like the cutting tool, extractor module, organic, mural frame, and new balloons for your ship. And then for resources, we've got the Luciferin, Machine Scrap, Technology Token, Research Parts in Basic, Advanced, and Unique. So tons of new stuff that we're going to be able to get stuck into and see what we can create out of. Hopefully a ton of new blueprints to go with that. For now, we are going to wrap that one up there. I'm very excited for the 1.0 launch. I'm going to jump in probably over the weekend, check it out, and see if I can do some funky stuff and see what we can get out of it. I'm not really going to focus on the story. I want to save that for a full playthrough when it launches on April the 14th. For now, though, I've been Wired. You guys have been awesome. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.